This conference will now be recorded.
Logically compilation unit, which will perform just give me a second.
Am I audible? Okay. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, Ravi. Can you
So
share your screen?
yeah. So in the last session, so we didn't discuss about the installation process. So now we'll go through the Pega installation process. If you are using the personal edition, how do we install the personal edition in your laptops? So we'll provide a zip file. Hope you can see my screen. So we'll provide a zip file for PRPC personal edition. And once the personal edition gets downloaded, you can see a zip file in this way. So this is a 7.2 version. Probably you can take 7.4. So once it is unzipped, you can see the folder structure in this way. So where you can see prpc underscore p executable jar file, you need to double click on it for the first time whenever we install it. So it will take around 5 to 15 minutes depending on your RAM, and it will create a folder which you will provide during the installation path. So in the installation path, by default, it will take C drive, go with it with the default port numbers and everything, with the default settings, whatever which are specified on it, you can go as is. Just click on next as like a normal software installation process. So it will give a command prompt at the end, which will take around 10 to 15 minutes for the first time for the installation process. Once that is done, you can see a folder called PRPC Personal Edition in the default C drive path. So once you open it, you can see these are the folders which forms. One is Java Runtime Environment. So Pega runs on Java, and since it is using, whenever we are using 7.3 or 7.4 version, so by default, the Java which is supportable is greater than 1.7. All right. So here Java runtime environment, it is coming with 1.8. So this is a prerequisite to run the Pega application. All right. So any Java is mandatory. So based on the version that we are using, the Java version is also having the compatibility. It doesn't matter for you, but the underlining technology, underlining Java programming is required to run this software. So it is coming with the Java runtime environment 1.8 version. And to run the Pega software, it requires a database as well, which is, so personal edition is using Postgres SQL. So we can also use the, so anyways, this is supportable for any kind of databases, but for the personal edition, it is coming with this Postgres SQL database. All right. So if you open this, you can see there are multiple other folders which relates with the database. All right. So PGSQL is a database coming with the software personal edition. So this is a PostgreSQL which is running. So whatever the application that we are creating, whatever the tables which are created, it will store in this PostgreSQL database. Coming to the scripts folder, this is the one which is responsible to start your database as well as your server. So if you see the scripts folder, in this you have startup and shutdown batch file. So this will, once when you need to start your server as well as the database, so both get started on click of this startup batch file. So just double click on it. In the meantime, the server gets started. So here it will take care of starting your DB server as well as starting your application server. And for this personal edition, it is coming with the Tomcat server, and in this the database configurations are configured. So if you want to see the database details which is configured for this server, you can go inside the conf folder, and in this you have context.xml. So this is where you can see the database credentials. So if you see, this is the host, this is the URL for DB, and using username and passwords are provided here. So you can even connect to the database if you have PG admin tool. So if you have this tool PG admin, this is used for connecting to the database. So as and when you want to connect to the local edition, the personal edition database, you can use this software downloaded. So PostgreSQL, in order to connect it, you can use this. So I already configured in the system. So in case if you are the new user, you just need to create a new connection, go to File, add a server. Here we just need to specify the host name. Port number by default for Postgres is 5432. So the database port number which is configured is by default, which is 5432. And the username and password is Postgres. All right. So the host name you can see under the context.xml. Here it is localhost. So in case if you are using the real-time environment, you might have a IP address over here. So that IP address will be your host to connect. All right. So here I can specify the name is anything that you can give on it. All right. And Postgres is the maintenance database you can see over here. So after this 5432, whatever you see, this becomes your maintenance database. All right. So click on OK. So here you can see, on click on it, you can see the databases which are available. So here the Pega is coming with the Postgres database. Inside this you can see the schemas. So here you can see the schemas which are available are rules and data. So the schemas which are coming by default with Pega is data schema, and another one is rule schema. Public and SQLJ are not coming with this personal edition, but this is by default the software, by default the schemas which are coming with pgadmin. So here we are responsible for the schema, data and rules. So everything that we do as a developer, everything gets stored in the rule schema and data schema. So schema is nothing but the collection of tables. So whenever we have a set of tables, and all the tables are just mapped to one of the schema. So whatever the things that we create, whatever the records that we enter into the system, so that will be part of data. So any assignments, anything that we are working upon in the system, which we are taking the information from the real-time users, so that will be considered as a data. As a developer, whatever the things that you develop, so those are considered as rules. So here, as a developer, whatever the logics that we write it down is called as a rule, and all the rules are classified into different set of tables which are saved in the rule schema. All right, so these are the two different schemas which are required. So this is how the DB will look into. So while we discuss about our application, so what all the different tables which are created, we can see. All right, now once the server gets started, you can see the message here. So the server gets startup in how many seconds. So this will say that your server is up and running now. So as and when your server is up and running, you can open any of the browsers, go to localhost colon 8080 is the default port number, which is given by the time of installation. All right, and PR web is the servlet context. In order to log in, you need to provide the servlet context as well. So till this, the server details, and after this, you are specifying our web details. So this is a web-based tool, so where you can see a servlet context available for you in order to log into it. So by default, we have administrator at pega.com user ID, and install is the password. All right. So this is the space that we consume in order to do our development. And in the Designer Studio, you can see the default application which this user has associated to. So whenever we log in, the user details you can see on the top right corner. So on click of it, you can see the operator or the user information on clicking of this operator. So operator is a rule form to log into the system. We can create our own operators as well. By taking this as a reference, you can use a save as option. So just like we copy this and we'll change the names here. Instead of administrator at pega.com, you can add your own user ID. So with your name, you can create it. All right. But by default, in this application, we are not supposed to do anything because the Pega rules is the application which comes by default with Pega, and we have a restricted not to create anything in this application. Even you can't create it as well. So this is a base thing which you will use it, but ideally whenever we start creating any new application, in that you can do anything. All right, so we'll try to understand the terminologies in today's session, where what all the rules which are mandatory to create a new application. So we are just going through the prerequisites to create a new application. So just we'll go through the terminologies in today's session. So here, whenever you see any user who logs in, he's associated to an access group, and in this access group, you can see, you can open this rule form. So this is another rule form to provide you an access to an application. We specify the application as well as the version here. So with this, we are saying that the user has associated to this application via this access group. Access group will act as a mediator between operator and an application. So we can't directly give the application name here. We should specify the access group, and in that access group, it will determine which application you will be pointed to. And apart from that, you can see the list of portals. Portal is nothing but the space that we provide for an individual or a user who logs in. So by default, we are providing the developer portal here. So this is called as a developer portal. The Designer Studio is called as a developer portal. And below this, you can see set of roles available. And these roles are will say how much privilege you have for this application access. So these are something which will define your accessibility, your restriction to the application access. All right. So if you, since it is specifying the admin privilege, you are access to do anything on this system. All right. So here there are certain roles which you specify, and these roles will make your application accessibility. All right. So in that way, we will restrict different set of users who has a different responsibilities. So each and every user who has a different set of responsibilities will have their own access group. So in our application, if you are saying recruiters can have one access group. So all the recruiters will be limited to the responsibility what he will be doing, because in that recruiters access group will list down only set of roles which are specific to that, which are specific to them. All right. So in the similar way, if you are approval manager, you may have some additional access roles. So you will have a different access group for it. So in that way, you can list down, you can add the default access group, the access group for the user, whoever available. So a recruiter operator will have recruiters access group. HR manager will have HR manager access group. Application could be same, but the roles might be different. So which we will define over here. All right. So in this way, we'll classify the operator, application, and access group. So we'll associate association between operator to an application via the access group. All right. So basic information you can see under the profile tab. And now if you go to the work tab, in the work tab, the basic important thing is organizational unit. So this is basically to which organization you are working for. So that is something we will define on the work tab. So whatever the work related stuff you can see under this work tab, and under this we have the organization followed by division followed by organization unit. So basically, whenever these are the three different terminologies: organization, division, and unit. So let's say in any organization ABC, if the organization name is ABC, you are working for an organization called ABC, and in that you are specifically working for a division. It could be sales, it could be HR operations, or it could be HR, it could be operations. In that way, you might have multiple departments. So each and every department can be called as a division. So we are classifying the entire organization in that you are restricting you being a user for a specific division. And in that division, you may have subdivisions, like someone who is participating in the research, someone may be participating in the engineering. All right. So in that way, this is called as an organizational unit. You can say a sub part of a division is called as a unit. So there could be multiple units, and as a user, whoever logs in, he has to be part of some organizational unit. All right. So in that way, whatever the applications that we create, we have to specify a specific organization, division, and organization unit. All right. So for this unit, for that unit, this application is applicable. Let's say in a bigger picture, if there is an application HRS, and in that we may have divisions, something like North America is one division, South America is another division. So the division could be in a countries as well. So they have explored their operations in multiple regions, and in that you may have a specific unit for a specific region. All right. So in the North America, you may have a specific unit where you want to work upon. So in that way, you will classify organization, division, unit. And this plays a very important role while you expand your business to a new country. So tomorrow, when you want to open your application, when you want to launch your business operations in Australia or New Zealand as well. So what you will do, the same application remains the same. So you will start your operations in a different division. So here, the operators who logs in may update their division accordingly. So here on click of update, once they specify their organizational unit, he will have an access only to work on the cases which are specific to that division. Let's say if I belongs to ABC and in that HR administration, I can update it. So I can work on the application which belongs to this organization. Only when you are specific to this specific organizational structure, you are supposed to work on those applications. All right. So this plays a key role whenever the people who logs in and has the application accessibility. So this organizational structure will make them to work on specific instances as per the organizational unit. All right. So for this, you can even see there is a landing page given. If you go to org and security, in this we have organization, and you can see the organizational chart, which will show you whatever the organization division units available. So you can see the complete organizational chart. So far, whatever the applications which are created in this system, you can see over here. All right. So we have ABC company, we have XYZ company. All right. By default, Pega user, Pega administrator. So the Pega rules application which is coming up. So this is using this one, Pega.com administration installation. So this is something which by default Pega is bringing. So similarly, you may have another set of organizations added in this. All right. So you can add the new organization by right clicking and add organization. Once you add an organization, then you can go with add division. So once you add a division, then you can add a unit. All right. So you can see the users, you can see the options varies. So there is unit can be added only once you have a division, not to the direct organization. All right. So directly on the organization, you can add only the division. All right. So specific to this organization, you can have multiple divisions as well. So one is HR. You can have one more, something called sales. So there are multiple divisions, and maybe the certain operators who belongs to HR division, certain operators may belongs to another division. So in that way, you will classify the users who are created will belongs to a certain division or will belongs to certain organization. So if you want to see all the operators who belongs to both the divisions, you can right click and you can view the operators, or you can create an operator who will work for both of these. All right. So in that way, we can classify this organizational chart. Clear? So this is one more prerequisite. There are certain other options that we will discuss while we discuss about that concept. Coming to the application. So by default, if you open the application, you can even open via clicking on the application definition. So here in the application, the basic thing that you need to observe is application rule sets. So here, every rule that we create, it is associated to a rule set, and apart from a rule set, you will have a rule set version associated. So basically, whenever we start doing the development, the rule sets is a container where you store all the rules. And based on the behavior of those rules, based on the functionality which is taken care by those rules, will keep in a container according to that behavior. So here there are multiple rule sets, and based on the behavior of those set of rules, will store them in those specific categories. All right, so there are multiple rule sets in this application, but in general we'll try to maintain less than 10, so that is easy to maintain as well. So in case if required, we can have one more application created, and we can have those application specific rule sets added to it. All right, so here the rule sets which are used by this application, you will list down in this area. So all the rule sets which you will work for this application, which you will use for this application, you will list down here. And the last session we discussed about the version, major version, minor version, patch version. All right, so if there are any kind of major enhancements, this gets incremented, the major version gets incremented. So this may happen based on a longer load. So whenever you are moving from Pega 7.3 to 7.4, or let's say 7.4 to 8.0, so there is a drastic application change which is coming. So if that was the case, then in that case you will go for a next version by incrementing by 1. All right, so it always starts from 0, 1 to 99. So any version which has XX, YY, ZZ, so each and every version will follow the versioning numbers in incremented by 1, which starts from 0, 1 to 99. All right, so moving from one major to one version to another version is a decision which is taken by the leads. So generally the leads will guide you through the making the decisions of which version to choose while you do the development. All right, so maybe the two teams can work in parallel. So both the teams are given a different set of versions. So while we create any new rules, we have to associate to the same rule set. Maybe can be used for both the applications, or same rule set can be used by both the teams. In that case, you will have a different version for one teams. So according to that version, you will use that specific version and create your own rules. All right, so these are the rule sets which are reserved for Pega, and we are not supposed to use it. And of course this can't be used as well because it is starting with Pega dash. So any rule sets which we will add to our system, so those won't start with Pega dash. We have those rule sets, but it should not be starting with Pega dash. So this is a restriction for certain rules which are created for Pega, and to differentiate with that of our rules. All right, so we have to follow the practice. I mean, of course, even if we try to create a rule set with Pega dash, system won't allow you to create it. All right, so it will throw you an error while saving itself. All right, so this is basically a recommended in that way. So let's say we are creating our own application. By default, system will provide certain rule sets added to your application, and those will if in case you are building from scratch, it may have 01-01. All right, so based on this major version, you can say how long this application is created. If you are on 7 major version, if the application says the major version is 7, that means this is very old application. All right, if it is 1 or 2, probably you can guess this could be started in 1 or 2 years, or 2 years or 3 years. All right. So based on this version, we can say this application is created in these many years back. All right. So from one major version to another major version, whenever the companies has to move it, it definitely takes around 2 to 3 years. All right. So it's not like immediately the major version gets changed, but maybe the minor version or patch versions will change a lot. So each and every patch version may take around something like 1 month. So patch versions development is something which is decided, and it can change from company to company. So some organizations may follow the version to be used for every month. You need to use a different version. So for every development that we do, they might use a different version. All right. So some people, they might go with a feature wise. So for this feature, even if it is taking for 3 or 4 months, they may go for certain patch versions, like go and use 01 to 05 patch versions. So you will use only these 5 versions for doing this entire feature. All right. So it depends on the company to company where the lead will take a decision. So we just need to know that there is a version which is given for each and every rule set. All right. So these rule sets will associate to any rule which we created. So for this rule set is associated. For the access group, we have this tagged to Pega process commander rule set. The operator has a different rule set. So in that way, there are multiple rule sets which are given, and we need to associate to that specific rule set. So as per the behavior, let's say if you are doing some integration stuff, so you may have some integration specific rule sets, and whatever the integrations that you do, you will associate, you will use those rule sets. All right. So we have to create a new application. So for that, we'll go with clicking on the Pega rules application, and here we have a new application. So this will open a wizard for us where we define a new where we create a new application. So using this wizard is a process, is a step-by-step process which will lead to do our development. So here this wizard will drive a step-by-step process to create a new application. So here, whenever we start creating any new application, we can use these options available. All right. So here, if there is an existing framework which is available and you want to define, you want to customize the implementation. So there are two different type of applications. One is framework and the other one is implementation. So framework is basically a template where you are specifying the template like a model of the application. Let's say there is a kind of a framework. A framework is just a template. So as like if we are constructing any building, so just you are keeping the bricks and you are just constructing with a slab. So that will be a template for your building. All right. So adding whatever like the plastings and everything, whatever you do inside the customization for that building. So that is something we call it as an implementation. So implementation is the one which is ready to use by the users. All right. So implementation of an application is ready to be consumable by any user. So there are two different types. One is framework, which is a kind of a template which you will define for that application. And the other one is implementation, which is ready to be consumed. You will add multiple flavors to it, where you want to see the UI in a different way. But whereas the framework is open for doing the development by and can be consumed by multiple implementations. All right. So one framework can be used by multiple people. Let's say if there is a framework which I created it, this is a common application which will do the job of recruiting the people. And once the common behavior is defined to do the recruitment process, there could be multiple implementers who will implement their applications as per their requirement. Let's say you are specifying in the common template a single a single interview process, but maybe they want to configure to have 5 different interviews happening. So that is something which you will do the customization, and that customization we can do in a implementation product. All right. So this is a framework where you will give a common behavior, and in the implementation it will be a specific behavior to the client. So this may use by one client, and there could be another client who will use the same template and they will define their own customization. All right. So there could be multiple implementations can be defined. So here we can have n number of implementations created on one framework. All right. So here you can add n number of applications created on top of one framework. All right. So we need to create a framework application, then we can consume that framework and we can build a new implementation. All right. So in that way we will follow while creation of an application. So here there is an existing framework which is available in the system. So that is the reason it shows me here. So if I use this, what happens? The existing framework, since it is already available, I'm trying to add a new implementation on top of it. All right. So here I will just consume the existing template and I am trying to use a new implementation application. All right. So if you go in the earlier versions like 7.3, you may see the other options available to you while you do the development. There is something called framework and implementation, and you need to select which one to go. But in 7.4, there is no difference for it. You have to create one framework application first, and then you have to use that, and again you need to follow this wizard once again. All right. So since there is an existing framework available, you can use this and you will move forward. All right. So as of now, you can see only whenever you're the first time when you log in, if you doesn't have any applications, you won't see this. You will see custom approval service request task tracker. All right. So here the base usage for creation of an application, it is defining in this way. If your application is for only for approvals, you will go with this. If your application is using service requests, you will go with this. If you want to track some cases, if there are some cases which you want to track it, so it is just for the tracking system we are using, in that way you can go with this. So in that way these are classified. You can go for custom, for there is no specific restriction, you can do all these three. All right. So use this application type. It just gives you some description over here. And so on which device you would like to support the new application? If I say laptops and mobiles, or tablets or mobiles, so you can go with the laptop and mobile. This is no specific reason. So only the thing is the colors which are displayed while we do the development. So this can be used, the default one. Of course, we can have a different color changes, which we have a different topic for it. So here we specify the name of the application. All right. So if I say the recruiter application, so if I click on create application, it will create for me. But before that, we have the option called this is a situation layer cake, will also call as framework and implementation. So click on this advanced configuration before that, before clicking on create. So here you can see the application structure. It is classifying as framework and implementation in this step. But if you go for before 7.3 version, you will see at the starting itself what is that application is for, creating a framework or an implementation. So here you can change to a framework if in case you would like to create a framework and then you would like to come back for an implementation. So if you say framework, so this is something which you are creating as a template. So always it is recommended to create a framework properly, get it tested, and then you will give to the clients or customers to do their implementations on top of your framework. So you will give the framework application to the users, to the third party, maybe the consultancies. So they will do their customization on top of it. So if you are running a product, definitely some of the cases where the business says that today our business model is going with this, maybe we have a plans to expand tomorrow. So if that was your plan, then always go with a framework, because you may require some kind of customization as per your new business model, and that can be done once if you are building through a framework. So if you are sure that there is no customization required and it's maintenance overhead to maintain two different applications, always prefer to go with one. All right, because if you are going with the framework and implementation, if you observe, we are maintaining two different applications. One is to maintain one framework application. Again, after creating, you need to create another application. The more number of applications that you keep on adding, so you can even add one more implementation on top of one more implementation. You can add one more as well. So you can add n number of applications on top of each other, but the maintenance is also a key role. All right, so the more the number of applications that you keep adding, the more number of maintenance overheads you need to take it up. All right, but still there could be some requirement which says that a particular division will provide another application and I need to use that specific implementation layer. All right, so there could be multiple situations where you need to we need to consume some other applications as well. Let's say there is a third party organization which is providing one application, and if I want to use that as well. All right, so in Pega 7.2 onwards, they provided us n number of applications can be used. So let's say in order to take one more application, I will take two different applications and I will create one standard application on top of this, which will cover both the things. So here some part which is given by a different organization, I am trying to add that application into my system. And of course, the third party system which we are speaking about should also have an application created in Pega itself. All right, it's not like the other application, that means not a Java or something. So that will come as an integration part. But as long as we have to consume a different application which is also using Pega, then in that case you can specify multiple applications while we create a new application. So this option will come to that later, but as of now we'll just create a framework first, and later on while our complete development is done, we can add another implementation on top of this framework. All right, so here if you see the organization name, division, and the unit, so this is the mandatory thing in order to create a new application. So here for which organization you are creating this. All right, so here I can specify anything. If the organization is having some abbreviation, you can use in this way. So it's always recommended to give around 4 to 6 characters, max 4 characters. If you minimize it, that's better. All right, because while creating this, it will create a class in the background. While we define any application, Pega will create a class which you can see here, and the class structure will have the organization name as well. All right, so whenever you specify the organization name, it will take this name while we have a class created in the background. All right, so for in case if you are providing the big organization name, the class will also grow. All right. So that is the reason, keep it short always. That's recommended. Of course, by the time if you enter it, probably someone already created the application, and this is usually done by the lead system architects. So people who are lead system architects, they will define they will define these inputs, and they will do the creation part. All right, coming back to the division. So to which division this application belongs to? So if I say for HR operations, I can specify that HR operations. Or if you would like to go with the Europe country, so this is for a Europe, I'm doing this. All right, so if this is specific to a division, you can specify it. All right, so here under this you may have a different unit like sales unit. So for the sales unit, I'm doing this HRS application. All right, so here these are something which will given as an input whenever you start doing the development. So for which division this application is applicable. Below this, you can see the class structure which is created. So here, since we have selected the framework, it is appending FW in between organization and the application name which we provided. So whatever the application ID that we specified, so that is something which comes while the class structure is created. All right. So it's not like Java where the class will have only one single name. In the Pega, the class structure, whenever it creates it, it has hyphen in between these classes. All right. So in the class definition, you can see organization name followed by hyphen, followed by FW, which is framework, followed by hyphen and the application ID, which is given, followed by hyphen and work. So there is a work related class which is created, and whatever the work specific things that we do it is the one which it consumes. All right, so by default an application has one class. This is called as a class group. Okay, so you can see the class group. So one entire IVBL until this work is called as a class group. All right, so in this way we can specify the things, and now you can save it. So in case the in the organization chart, that organization IVBL is not available, it will create that organization, division and unit. All right, so click on create application. Okay, so an application, a recruiter application has been created, and to log into it, we need some users. So for that, you will add some users which will create the operators for you. All right, so if I say admin user, okay, you can add some email or name. Okay, so I'm adding mine. So it's generally followed as a @ organization name, or I can add the another way like admin @ IVBL. All right, so here by default it will prompt us some password as well. So for the first time when you are trying to log in, you need to change the password. All right, so copy this or take a screenshot of it and log off, and now log in with this, with the password which you copied. Okay, so for the first time it will ask you to change the password. Now change the password to rules. this because we will remember easily. All right. So we just logged in. Now you can see our application, which is reflected on the Designer Studio, and this is the place where we start doing our development. And if you see our operator, so it has pointed to an access group called recruiter : administrators. So if you see, the syntax for an access group is always application name : the role which is given for it. So this because it is an administrator group, this is having administrator. But the general practice is whenever you have a specific role, based on that role, you will specify that access group after the column. All right. Application name remains the same. Application name will generally specify the first, followed by column, followed by the role. All right. So if you open this access group, you can see the developer portal is given as the default one, and there are some set of existing Pega portals which you can see on click of launch. All right. So whatever the things which are listed here, based on each and every option, it is having these web interfaces displayed. And below this, you can see the roles available. So there are certain roles which are specific for an administrator. All right. So in this way, you can specify these roles. And now, so there is an application which is created, and you can see this organizational unit which is given there. So here, the user which is created, it is specific to this organization, division, and unit. All right. What else we need to observe? The rule sets. If you go to application, definition. So here you can see the rule sets which are coming there are 4 rule sets. So one is for the application. So anything that we create as part of this application process, we will consume this recruiter rule set. Recruiter int is reserved for the integration purpose. Anything which we are doing some kind of integration stuff, in that case, we'll try to use this rule set. There is another one called IBBL, which is the name of the organization, and default, it will create an organization rule sets as well. All right. And in the organization wide integrations. So if there are some set of integrations which are used by an organization, so that organization specific integration rule sets, we are going to use this rule set. Okay. And if you observe, there is something called as built on applications here. So you may have multiple applications which might be created on top of one another. So here by default, the underlying application is Pega rules. So Pega rules is the base application to create any new application. All right. So just like we are creating a template, right? And template will be the base for creating the implementation. So just becoming a template, so this becomes a base for creating an implementation. In the similar way, we need to have a Pega rules as the base layer to create any application on top of it. It could be implementation or it could be a framework, but the base application should be Pega rules. All right, because the existing Pega is providing lot many components, and in order to consume it, you need to have this Pega rules. Otherwise, you can't create the application. So Pega rules should always be there. So that is the reason this cannot be blank. This should be having the application name Pega rules. All right. So the version which will determine on which Pega platform you are creating this application. So this version will signify either you are creating the new application on 7 or 6 or 8. All right. So in that way, this version will classify accordingly. So as I said, the Pega 7.3 onwards or 7.2 onwards, we have the option to add multiple applications. So this is the part which we are discussing, where if in case you have two different applications, and if in case you want to consume both these applications, we have got this link add application, where you can add multiple applications here and you can use all the applications in this application. All right. So this link is available to you right from 7.2 onwards. Earlier to it, you can have only one single application. Only one single application is allowed to build on top of one another. But in 7.2 onwards, we have given this add application option where you can add multiple applications, and all the application features which are coming from multiple sources can be used, can be consumed in this application. So this is one more advantage which you can see in 7.2 onwards. All right. So here Pega is providing two set of applications, one for the complete behavioral part and another one for complete UI part. So all the UI things which are coming, so all the UI stuff which is displaying it for the display purpose, it is developed in UI kit. So this is having the specific changes how to display the UI. So that is something, this is given as a separate application. All right. So because some people, they would like to go with the older UI, but the functionality should be brought as per the new Pega features. So Pega features, they want to use it, but the UI, they want to use the older one. So for that, they may go for a different version of UI. All right. So they can go for a 8.1 UI, but the feature wise, they want to use the things. All right. So in that way, you can change the version accordingly. All right. And you can log off and log back again to see that change. All right. So here, so as we discussed about the major minor versions, so as of now, the rule sets which are displaying here as major come minor version, you can open the rule set and see the existing versions available for the development. And go to App Explorer to see the class which is created for this with this application. The default class which is created, I can see under the App Explorer in the left, where I can see the name of the class appears, which is the default class associated with this application. So anything that we start doing the development, it starts with the default class group. So anything that you need to, whenever you change anything on this versioning part, it's better to log off and log back to see those changes, because system is unable to find it out, the specific rules which are there in this specific version, and while trying to use it. So here you can see the classes, whatever the classes that are used for this application, I can see over here. Yeah. So here you can see the class which are created. So for whatever once we define any new application, it will come with a class structure as well. So this is the class which we will use for doing the next set of development. So the default class, which we call it as class group. All right. So each and every class group which we have, the class name you can see under the category sysadmin. So this is also, class is also a rule. So each and every class is associated to a database table, and the class rule is associated with the sysadmin rule category. So here, whatever you see under the classes, so those are called as rule categories. So every rule that we create is associated to a category here. All right. So it eases the job of finding a specific rule by us based on the behavior of it. All right. So there are multiple categories like process, decisions, so or UI, something like that. So in that way, we can classify the rules that we are creating. It belongs to that specific category. So here, if in case you want to open that rule, you just need to expand it and open it. So this will open in a tab where you can see the class definition here. And at the end, there is something called as test connection. So each and every class which is of type concrete. So this is a type concrete. So this is having a table associated. So whenever we have a table, there should be some instances inside that table. So if you define the class type as concrete, then only the table is associated. Then only a table will be pointed to this class. That means you can have any number of records inserted into this DB table. And for this, you can check the data table which is pointed for this class. So here you can see this comes under the data schema because every record that we insert as an end user, so this will take into picture. All right. So we'll discuss, we'll come back to this later. So here come to the rule set once. Yeah. So in this rule set, you can see the versions which are unlocked. This says that this version is unlocked and this is open for doing the development. So any new rules that we create, we can dump into this container which is unlocked. You can add multiple versions based on our development. So as and when you go to the next set of versions, it is always recommended or it's the best practice to lock it. So whenever you try to lock it, it will prompt us for a password, which should be maybe for an organization, this will be a specific password. Some lead system architects, they might be knowing it. So once you give the password and lock it, it should not be unlocked, but ideally it won't happen in that way. People try to unlock it and they will do the changes. All right. But in ideal scenario, we should lock it and we'll move to the next set of versions. All right. So this is something we are freezing the things and you are not supposed to unlock again. All right. So in that way, only the versions which are unlocked, we can do the development, we can save that, we can associate that to that rule set accordingly. All right. So in this way, we can specify the rule set versions. All right. So each and every rule set has certain versions which you can see over here. All right. Now come back to the class. So there is a table which is created. So there is a table which is created for the class type concrete, and that table you can see by using the test connection. And this table which is created, you can see under the data schema. So here, if you go to our database, you can see under the data schema. And in this, we have tables. So that whatever the applications which are there in the system, for all those, you can see the table here. So check with the PCE_IBBL. So in general, the Pega syntax is PC. So all the tables which is related to data will always start with PC_. So PC_ IBBL MW recruiter work. So here, this is the table which is created in the background. So you see the wizard is creating so many things. One is operators, organization, division, unit, access group, application, class, table in the background. So all these things are getting created. Application rule sets. All right. So in that way, it is creating a complete space within this 1 hour. All right. So all these things, we are not doing it manually. System is driving us. So system is taking care of all these things. If we are doing the same development of creating one application in any other environments, it may take for some set of time, because you need to define the table and you need to create the table, and then you will start doing the development and all. But here, system drives us through how the tables has to create it and in which schema it has to create it. So everything is maintained accordingly. All right. So in this way, the table is created, and in this you have certain columns. There are 91 columns here. So these 91 columns, most of them, if you see, of course, all are related to PX and PY columns. That means Pega will maintain these records. So every insertion which happens into this table, all these PX, PY, PZ. So this is a syntax generally where any columns which Pega maintains it. So any value which Pega maintains it, it generally stores in the fields called, which starts with PX, PY, and PZ. All right. So Pega will maintain those set of columns which has to be automatically inserted. So whenever you create any new record, whenever you try to insert any new record, so whatever you see PX, PY, PZ, so the values you doesn't need to enter manually. So Pega will take care of storing that. So by this, you are a lot of time who created, when he created, who updated. So such kind of information gets automatically updated by the system itself. So system is having certain parameters, certain attributes, which has to be taken care. So which is taken care already by Pega. So there are 91 columns, which are the ones which are maintained automatically by Pega. All right. So in this way, any table which Pega creates us, it will create certain columns in that way. All right. So while we add any new columns, we'll see how it works. But for now, we are defining only the PX, PY, and PZ columns. So we just observe the things PX, PY, PZ, how it is inserted into it. As of now, the columns, as of now, there are no records in that table. All right. We need to define the class and how Pega will maintain the class and what are the different types of classes we have. So all these things, maybe in tomorrow's session, we can discuss. Any questions in today's session? I see only one question. So situation layer cake and the framework and implementation, whatever I explained, that will be called as situation layer cake. All right. Do you have any questions?
Hi Ravi, I have
Yes,
one
no.
question. Hello?
You are there.
Hello?
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, hi everyone. I have a question for you.
Hey, am I audible, guys? I don't know.
Hello?
Yes, you are audible to me.
Not
Hello?
hearing your voice.
Hello?
Okay. Hope you could able to hear me.
Yeah,
All
this
right
is Sai
then.
Patel. I
Thanks,
can.
guys.
Ravi, can you hear me?
Bigger picture, the function of the final product is to deliver the business cases. So at the end of the day, uh, the set of responsibilities which are given for certain roles. So in order to accomplish a single business, so that is the end product. So end product is to give functionality to the users who is doing their job. So for them, if we can deliver certain cases as per the requirement which is stated, that was done. That is the final product. Are you convinced? Yes, no?
Hi, Ravi, can you hear me? Hello?
Okay. All right. Yeah, fine then. Yeah, thanks, guys. I'm sorry if in case I'm not having a proper audio connection. We'll check that. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, everyone.
Hello, Ravi, can you hear me?
Yes. So business decisions, yes, we can update it. We have some kind of customizations while doing the business decision making. So for that, certain rules are available for making certain business decisions. So there doesn't need to, as a business analyst or business people, whoever tries to access the system, they doesn't need to dig into the rules. They doesn't need to be aware of it, but a slight knowledge of it, certain business decisions, they can do it by using the end user space itself. On the end user space itself, there are certain rules we'll provide to them, and based on those, they can update and make the decisions to the system. So they directly can't write any rules, but we have certain rules they can customize it. They can do their updations on it. Case type and yeah, while we create a case, we'll talk about the case type, but application is a place which will have all the cases or anything that whatever the things that we have to create as part of application is the final product. Application is the one which we give to the customers. Inside the application, there could be multiple cases involved. All right, so there are multiple cases, and inside those cases you might be using multiple tables, or we can call it the data types. All right, so in that way we can have multiple rules that are developed using in an application. Application is a final product that we deliver to the client. All right, yeah, so I think is there any other questions? All right, yeah, then I think we can discuss in the next session. Thanks, guys.
Thank you everyone. Yeah, hi Sai. Like this audio issues we will rectify today. You won't face any issue from tomorrow. Hello, Sai, are you there? Yeah, hi Venkat Elamanchi. We'll meet tomorrow by the same time, same meeting link. Thank you.